forest. It's as if it's all happened before.
And feel on the markets.
Huh?
If the world is simulation, then a deja vu is a glitch in the matrix.
Or a message from the other side.
What is life but our brain's chemical perception? Your eyes see, your brain chemistry reacts. Here we just remove the middleman and we go straight to the chemistry. Call it a homecoming.
So we managed to squeeze in a bonus stream last night, but you are all here for the real Flat Earth Friday. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm great. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Please, after you watch this, leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are about this content. We want everybody to get involved and share their side of the story. So we got a doozy tonight. We're going way back, huh?
Yeah, well, it's a combination. So we've got this new character that wants to be relevant that had reached out and asked me for an interview before I interviewed Will Dufas. And this guy's name is Nachiketa. And we're just going to, for short, refer to him as Nacho from now on. Nacho. That's nacho cheese, right? And so Nacho reached out and all of a sudden he became semi-relevant when all of a sudden he was the guy that interviewed Sir David Weissenstein. And so that right there really piqued my curiosity. How does this guy that's completely irrelevant and is not part of the narrative whatsoever all of a sudden come along and interview the very top fake flat earther and be able to ask him the questions that he asked him? So what he ended up doing was he asked David Weiss the types of questions that I was trying to ask Will Dufas, that everybody said I was such a asshole for asking him these questions. And then all of a sudden Nachiketa, or Nacho, is asking Sir Weissenstein these tough questions, and all of a sudden David says he loves it, and he he wants this, and he wants to share these things about himself. So this Nacho guy, his interview actually does get David's stances on a whole bunch of things that if I were to go in and try to ask him these questions, chances are he probably wouldn't answer them. So it's going to be an interesting hangout tonight where we're going to be getting these answers from David Weiss, and we can compare them to the things that he was saying, 8-9 years ago, right?
Yeah, like at least 10 years ago, even. We've got a clip of him with his 9/11 explanation back then, and a little cherry on top to show everybody that Dave actually knew exactly how the buildings were taken down. They were taken down with nano nukes, or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't dustified by some Judy Webb crazy nonsense theory, right? They actually used Varanage. So we'll get to that point. You got to stick around. That's probably going to be the fun part. And yeah, I'm just excited. We got so much to get into. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. So Nacho, the new guy on the scene, interviews Sir David Weissenstein.
Yeah, so there are some major contradictions that we're going to be getting into, where anybody with half a working brain is going to be able to see that Sir David Weissenstein is a rabid liar, and major contradictions, super out in the open. The only way you could justify following this guy and actually thinking that he's, fighting for flat Earth is you'd have to be a retard. And we don't want anybody here to be considered that. So we're going to be going through and showing everybody the evidences. We're going to be doing simple, basic things, looking at whether or not what he's saying is true or not. And you get to come to your own conclusion. I mean, we already have. So that's the reason why we're presenting the things that we are. you watch it, see for yourself, come to your own conclusions. And if you think David Weiss is, best source of truth, well, go follow him. So we got some stuff to get into. There's a lot going on right now, brother. We've got this hangout, and then we want to go through the eulogy that, fake pastor Will Dufus did the eulogy for this Bob Enyart guy. We got to go through that, so maybe that's Sunday. There's so much. What do you say? Is there anything else you want to say before we get into it?
No, let's go, man. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again, and let's have a good time.
My father had a lot to say, but he had a lifetime in the way. Empty bottles every day, the words unspoken barricades, falling into a haze. Blasting music as he'd sway, he'd sway, he'd sway, he'd sway, he'd sway. He'd sway, he'd sway, he'd sway, he'd sway, he'd sway. You couldn't slow down. You couldn't slow down. And time ran out. Yeah, time ran out. Early morning memories, eating breakfast, you're at peace. Can you pass the paper, please? You'd say with wine stains on your teeth, pretend it was just a dream. I know you'd seen some awful scenes. You say it was your everything. You didn't know I'd watch you as you sway, you'd sway, you'd sway, you'd sway, you'd sway. You'd sway, you'd sway, you'd sway, you'd sway, you'd sway. You could have slowed down. You could have slowed down. But time ran out. Yeah, time ran out. Father, I feel your pain. I can't avoid it most these days. Bottles by the kitchen sink. I should have done some shitty things. I didn't know what to think. When I saw you at your break, run down everything. Watching as you sway, you sway, you sway. You sway, you sway, you sway. Can I slow it down? Can I slow it down and turn it around? I'll turn it around,
And we are back with an interview request from Nachiketa Fire. And so we are the team that documents everything. And if you send us something, there's a good chance that there's going to be a timestamp or a video stamp of it. And we'll be sharing it if it's relevant. So this Nacho guy came out June 22nd, 13 days ago, and asked for an interview. And this was before he interviewed Will Dufas and before he interviewed David Weiss. Now, I knew who he was, and I really didn't take it seriously. I thought it was sort of a joke because this guy came onto the scene through the Flat Earth and Coffee. So let me just let me pull up this right here. So Flat Earth and Coffee, this is a fake Flat Earth channel that the moment he hit the scene, he's pretty new. He showed up in his spacesuit, and I told him, Ronnie told him, a bunch of us told him that if you promote the pressurized pizza dome, that we are going to be against you and we're going to be calling you out. And so he went on and promoted the fake flat earth, and he ended up going on Jaron's show, and Jaron promotes him, and he's saying some terrible things as a result of this fake final experiment thing in Antarctica. He's saying that that's going to prove that we're on a ball, a 24-hour sun, and all this kind of stuff. And so this Nachiketa or Nacho, he showed up on this Bobby T's podcast. And so all these guys, Run Boston Bear, I mean, we know who the Bears are. These are the Owen Benjamin, the bear is a reference to a group of homosexual men. And Boston is the most Jesuit city in the country. So I'm not fond of the name Run Boston Bear. And then when you hear him speak, it gets even worse. So you can see here that this was May 13th of 2023. This might be the first time Nacho showed up on Bobby T's program. And look who's in here. We've got the Limitless Channel. The Limitless Channel. Awake Souls. The Limitless Channel. Yahawashai's daughter. Awake Souls. Troubling Tribune. I mean, here's a fake flat earther that's actually in prison right now, right?
Yeah. Maybe he's out. I don't know, but that's a while ago to see his name. Wow, yeah, there he is.
Yeah, so this is where I first came into knowing about Nachiketa, and I've got a lot of questions now about who this guy is and where he comes from and how he is interviewing David Weiss right now. So he came in, he asked for an interview. I thought it was a joke. And then all of a sudden when he started interviewing Will Dufas and then Sir David Weissenstein, I was very curious and I want to interview him now. So I thought it'd be a good idea. If he wants to interview me, I want to interview him. You know, let's do a hangout. And so I say all this. I'm not going to read all this. There's a lot of words. I'm going to scroll slow enough that if you want to read it all, you can stop and read it all. If you're really interested in what's taking place, everyone, join the Telegram Reality Check chat, all right, or Reality Check, either one. So these are the places where we're placing our content, and it's where we're having discussions about them. So make sure if you're interested in being a part of the narrative that you're a member there, because you're going to see what's going on. So he didn't like my take as far as him being a shill and Bobby being a shill and all the fake flat earthers and all that kind of stuff, and he didn't like my attitude. So he sort of played me off, and now all of a sudden he's not interested in having a live interview type thing. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about him, because he interviewed David Weiss. And so David Weiss is probably the most popular of all the fake flat earthers, right? Because he's got the app, right? He said he's got like 185,000 subscribers to this CIA app that tracks everything about you. And
I mean, he's going to tell us some funny things about the app, so be prepared to laugh. Make sure you don't have too much butter on your popcorn. If there's anything that might get stained around you, you're probably going to spill it.
Yeah, so all right. Yeah, we know who Nacho is. I'm trying to think here. We've got a couple other tabs. Let's go ahead and get into this. We've got timestamps. We're going to go through basically the whole thing, but we can cut it down to the important stuff. So let's go ahead and start right from the beginning. And we're going to hear something about Nacho that I want to document and make sure everybody hears, and I want to know more about this.
Namaste, everybody. Nachiketa here, coming in live from the Himalayas. And
live from the Himalayas. Do you think that's real? Do you think he's what, a Buddhist monk on the top of Mount Everest? What's going on here?
He might be out there. I don't know. Maybe he can get the world record longest P1000 shot if he is.
Yeah. So live from the Himalayas. That I find that interesting. Let's keep going here.
And today we have Flat Earth Dave, also known as Dave Weiss, or is it the other way around? Dave Weiss, who is also known as Flat Earth Dave. But welcome to the show, Dave. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm not sure which one it is. I actually, when I send emails out, I sign it Flat Earth Dave, a.k.a.
It should be Sir Weissenstein, David Weiss, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, Flat Earth Dave, right?
From the Fellowship Order of McGoohan, right?
Exactly.
A
The
David
Ark
Weiss.
Knights.
So there you go.
Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning. Today, we're not going to be playing any songs. People can catch up if they want. But I want to ask you right off the bat, like, where are you from? And tell us a little bit about
Pause it. What does he mean we're not going to be playing any songs? Does this guy play new music too?
Yeah, I guess he's going to follow the same format that I used with Will Dufas, where we normally have like an intro song and that kind of stuff, a stinger. But because I just wanted to get as many questions out of Will Dufus, that I said, we're gonna forgo those things. We would just want to get into it. So Nacho took the same approach with David.
your background, and then let's start from there.
I am from Connecticut. I am born in...
All right, so pay attention to this. He's saying he's from Connecticut. We want to really lock in on this because this is one of the major ways that we're going to show that David Weiss is a lying scumbag Freemason Satanist.
I am from Connecticut. I am born and raised and still live in the same town that I was...
Born, raised, still lives in the same town in Connecticut.
Grew up in, which is Greenwich, Connecticut. I'll tell people that. Easy to...
Greenwich, Connecticut.
Find out. I just a normal person here, always inquisitive, flashing forward. I questioned what money was early on, and the Federal Reserve and the IRS, and that kind of started my rabbit hole. Alex Jones and some other conspiracy shows that I listened to, and then 9/11 happened. I had I guess you could say I'm an eyewitness because I saw it not on TV. I saw it with a perfect view of Lower Manhattan over the water.
Oh, just a second here. He went from being this guy that grew up in Connecticut, lived in Connecticut his whole life. Now all of a sudden he's a perfect eyewitness of what took place on 9/11 over the water. Over the water. Now I did live in New York City for 2 years, so I understand what it takes to be able to see Lower Manhattan. This is Lower Manhattan right here. This is where the Twin Towers stood. If you want to see that over water, the only places that you can do that from are Brooklyn and Jersey. That's the only place. You can either do it from this side or from this side, but to see Lower Manhattan over water, that's it. Now, he says he's from Connecticut. So you come up here. Once you go across, cross over from Manhattan over to mainland, right here, right, you have to come up here to, here's the border of Connecticut. Right, so he has to live up here. He said he's always lived there. This is all whatever. But then he's going into his eyewitness thing where he said that he saw the Twin Towers come down over water, clear view over water. So we had already isolated that David Weiss had a place somewhere along this shore a long time ago. It was a neighborhood where the cheapest home in the neighborhood was $10 million. If you scroll down here and take a look, let's just show everybody the only place that you can see Lower Manhattan from over water is a place like this. Now, I don't expect everybody here to be a real estate agent, but how much do you think a Lower Manhattan view is going to cost you? Where you can just walk down to the beachfront from your place and you have a overwater view to Lower Manhattan. It's probably not going to be the cheapest place in the neighborhood.
Yeah, very expensive.
Very expensive, right?
Yeah.
So he said he lived in Connecticut, yet he could walk down to the water and watch this take place. So we have a massive contradiction already. Let's keep going.
And that's when I really started questioning everything. Years later, I started Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast, questioning all of the narratives. And then flash forward, in the third year, people started sending me flat earth stuff. And I came up with the term banned for life because you're an idiot if you think the earth is flat. And I would ban them. But then Sophia Smallstorm, who became a good friend of mine and are researching, of the events that happen around here, especially in Connecticut. She's the one that made me look, and I tried to debunk it, and it didn't work out so well. And here I am. So I went to college.
He seems very displeased.
I went into corporate America. I rose to the top of my industry. What I was doing, I was very successful in my two major careers, which were the printing industry and the solar industry. I left corporate America. Well, I didn't leave. I mean, I left the company that I was working for and started my own company.
Can I get a pause?
Yeah.
I just want to point out, okay, nowhere did Nacho with cheese sauce on it start off and explain what this interview was about. Why was Sir David Weissenstein, the big centerfold, being interviewed tonight? What is this in regards to? What does this have to do with anything? Us hearing David Weiss's backstory. David's being written out of the script. He turned down the invitation to go to Antarctica. He said no, right? And not only that, but they're going to be demanding their bitcoins. Jaron is going to say, you owe me bitcoins, Dave. I gave you proof of a globe Earth. You know that's coming, right? Let alone you be going there and investigating it. But Jaron's going to say, David's offering bitcoins to whoever can prove whether the Earth is flat or a sphere. Well, they're going to offer the 24-hour above their circling head as the proof of a globe, David. So what is this interview about? Why are we hearing David Weiss's solar business? Like, what does this have to do with anything?
He's getting grilled. Super grilled by Nacho.
He's not getting grilled.
Nacho's got him on the spot.
Did David write the transcript for this entire interview?
Yeah, it says live with David Weiss.
Like, what kind of Tavistock nonsense is this that we're watching? He didn't even. Nacho, you should have stated what are your intentions? Why are you interviewing David Weiss? Are we getting to know? Is this just getting to know deep inside the rabbit hole with Dirty David, the Flat Earth Weiss? What's the reason that you're doing this interview?
Yeah, how did a nobody from nowhere in the top of the Himalayas end up interviewing the number one fake flat earther he was on Roseanne Barr the other day and Alex Jones, right? And now all of a sudden Nacho comes along and gets the dirty out of David, right? With the tough questions. This guy he's unwavering. He's just crushing them with the questions so far.
Ah, man, he is not.
With two partners, did very well there. But then my truth journey, my truthing, if you will, was causing some issues. One partner was getting very upset at what I was doing, and I had to make a decision. And I actually looked to the creator to help me make that decision.
What?
And the creator said, walk away from it all, everything I worked my entire life for. And I did. It was crazy. I was actually, my father died fairly early. He went in for elective heart surgery and died. That was the one moment that I was kind of glad that he wasn't around, because he would have killed me for walking away from everything I worked my life for to talk about flat Earth, because I think it's the most important topic. It's the underlying foundation of all of the lies. Everything that's going on in this world is because people are lost, spinning out of control in space. So there's 2 minutes of who I am.
And he's getting all emotional and personal and talking about his dad.
Yeah.
Just opening his heart up to the audience there, Dave.
Well, Nacho's got this way of just getting people to sing, right?
I guess.
He comes in tough. I mean, look at this. He doesn't crack a smile. It's just boom. Next question.
Why did you put so much credibility to Sophia Smallstorm to the point where you were banning everybody who believed the Earth was flat, but then you had enough respect and consideration for Sophia to try to actually
hold on? Can we hear this question again?
Yeah, well, see
why did you?
He was taking such deep notes. He didn't know. He doesn't know any of these characters.
Are we gonna talk about Nazis in this podcast? Is
No.
that where this is going? Okay,
I don't
want it.
Yeah, no, but he's such a diligent note taker. Yeah, he
just came up with that question on the fly.
He's digging in deeper.
Super genius. Wow. Let's get some more into this, Sophia Smallstorm. Let's hear this question again.
Put so much credibility to Sophia Smallstorm to the point where you were banning everybody who believed the Earth was flat, but then you had enough respect and consideration for Sophia to try to actually, refute her claim about the flat Earth.
Well, she wasn't even 100% sure. It was funny because I said I live in Connecticut. I was doing the podcast in New York City.
Connecticut, New York City. Which one was it? Did you see the Twin Towers over water? Because if you did, it wasn't from Connecticut. We can be sure of that.
And you know what's funny, everybody? Like I said, we got the goods because we've been documenting. I've been doing this for over 10 years, following these shows and recording what they say and playing it back. So he forgets one of the most important parts of his observation on 9/11. So David was a key witness that apparently had eyes on the buildings, right? We're going to get to that.
And she called me before I left my house. And I was talking to her on the phone the whole way into the city, parked my car, up into the studio, talking to her in the studio, setting up for the podcast. And she's a talker. And she was talking and talking and talking. And while she's talking, I'm looking at Facebook.
He's right. So this is internet radio. It was the thing. You had Zen Garcia, Sophia Smallstorm. You had all these guys that were doing it. Okay. I don't know who's on here in the chat, who's paying attention in the future or in the past here. If you were a part of these groups, it was a bunch of different radio shows that ended up becoming like Truth Frequency Radio and all this stuff. So Sophia was like this, psychic kind of, new ager type thing. And they delve into all these different topics. And she came out as a flat earther. And David was absolutely, he mocked, ridiculed, banned, and blocked everybody, said the truth that the flat earth was designed to take away the credibility of all other conspiracies, right? They're going to sink the flat earth with that. That used to be the tune that they sang. So this was the crew that were doing the live podcasts, and David was a part of it. And Sophia, you can bring her on your stream, and she could talk for 2.5 hours straight, just like Zen Garcia. All these characters, they're very talented at speaking.
Absolutely.
Comments I'm getting on our podcast page, and I'm banning people for suggesting that I even looked at flat Earth. I mean, you're annoying. You keep posting and posting and posting. Look at flat Earth. And we were talking about some shooting event that happened. And I just said to her as we were wrapping up the call, I said, Sophia, there's so much deception in this world. It's mind-blowing. And she goes, oh, David, I think it's worse than that. I think the Earth might be flat. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And she goes, here, watch these videos. And she sent me Mark Sargent's clues and some other videos. And I said,
that
okay.
That gives it all away right there. If anybody, if you're using Mark Sargent as your supposed gateway to the truth about flat Earth, there's a good chance you're lying or you're in the CIA.
Well, and here's the thing. So Mark Sargent, how did his clues get popular? How did he portray Earth? He said that it's
virtual reality simulation.
Yeah, virtual reality. Video game.
From a game designer standpoint, was his quote.
But
his catchphrase.
The moment he got those out, all of a sudden he switched to Pressurized Pizza Dome and never mentioned it again. That he got popular by saying the Earth was a virtual reality or video game.
He got popular because he was an agent being pushed by YouTube and Google, right? But the thing is that's key here is that he supposedly woke up at 3 a.m. and wrote all the clues at one time,
And they were just, beat around the bush, not really giving you any good evidence. And basically just Mark Sargent has been the absolute destruction of all the things that were good that was within the flat earth. They completely ruined it with mis, dis, and malinformation that Mark spread. And to this very day, they're still doing it.
So let's go ahead and play. You sent in a clip from...
Well, have we heard his explanation yet from 9/11 on Nacho Cheese's stream?
Yeah, we might have gotten through the 9/11 stuff.
He doesn't get into a better explanation? Okay, then it's time so here's a documentation. This is a clip. So Jason was at Patricia Steer's Flat Earth Mixer, and I was running a marathon podcast on Beyond Flat Earth, documenting everything. This was 7 years ago, right? Jason went to Houston, and while there were breaks, as I waited for Jason to come back on air, I was going through some of this information, trying to document stuff. That's what I like to do. And this happens to be what David used to say. I think this has got to be over 10 years old. This has got to be from 2014, 2015. And by the way, everybody that was in the truth community, we were basically all people that broke down hoaxes live every week. We had the We'll Do It Live Wednesday, and there was a few other podcasts. We all knew that David was a shill. He had the Big Dirty Three, Boston Bombing, Sandy, and... what was the other one? 9/11. Those were his big topics, and all he did was shill disinformation, misinformation through all of it. Everybody knew. They were like, we know this guy's got the... play the clip.
Yeah, so he's talking about how he was a 9/11 eyewitness, and this is what he was actually saying.
I agree that's a lot of programming. I want to focus on your witness testimony because it's so rare. Would you mind if I had a few more questions?
Ladies and gentlemen, please listen carefully to this next line here. And yes, I'm from, I live in a van down by the river in Bancroft. Motivation time, people. If you're into the flat earth. Sorry.
It helps me sort it out.
Okay, so one thing that comes to mind is, this is a very sensitive question. And I apologize for being, for potentially judging you on this question, but
please.
How can you be sure that because your mind has linked up that video that you saw with what your witness testimony kind of is now, how can you be sure that you've separated them enough? It was a long time ago. Can you be sure that you haven't, over time of telling the story to people, merged them in your mind a bit? Or
I understand your question, and to be honest, I really haven't thought about until my discussion with you guys last week, where I didn't really think about what I saw through the binoculars, comparing it to all of the videos that I've seen and analyzed. And it was our discussion last week that made me think, what did I really see? And I remember that what I saw so vividly. Now, I'm not saying it was the same thing. I'm just saying I saw the towers go from top to bottom, puffed out in the smoke around the same time frame. I remember watching it, and it was bulging out. It was bulging out in the middle or below the fall line. That you can see this big bulge, and it just went down. Maybe 8 to 10 seconds. And then there was a column of smoke, and I remember that the column of smoke stayed there for longer than I would expect to. And I don't know how long that was, but
David,
yeah, go ahead.
So about how much view did you have of the Twin Towers? Did you have a full view from top to bottom of every floor?
Of course not top to bottom. I would say probably the bottom 20 floors were obscured by other buildings from my vantage point.
20. All right. I guess my point is,
I just want to point out here that that's not possible from Connecticut. You're going to have to be in Brooklyn or Jersey to be able to get that kind of view. Not from Connecticut. It's impossible.
at least from the 20th floor down, it appeared top to bottom. Right.
Well, right. From everything that I could see was gone.
Right. Just went straight down.
It went straight down, and, I'm with Dr. Wood a lot on the towers didn't fall, they turned to dust in midair. That makes the most amount of sense to me.
So he's a dustification Judy Woods guy.
Do weapons.
Do weapons.
I call her wet. Judy Wood.
Yeah.
Do I believe that it was just directed energy? I have different theories, but those are just my theories.
David, are you familiar with the technique vernage?
No, what is that?
It's a French technique. They use it all the time to take buildings down. Mm-hmm. You have to have enough on top of the floor. If you have at least 6 floors, then what you do is they have these hydraulic jacks that pop all the supports at one time, and that's all you need. And you do it on 2 floors. One.
It's on the screen right here, everybody. Vernage,
explosiveless demolition.
Explosiveless demolition, exactly.
Above the other. Then that middle floor, it just slides out to the left or to the right or whatever. And then the 2 floors collapse, and just that amount of weight collapsing dustifies the whole building.
And drops it into its own footprint.
All the way down.
So that's an interesting concept, but I have an argument to that. And again, I'm not an engineer.
I hear dupe and delay, and I'm a person who actually builds these buildings. I don't pour the concrete or put the red iron in, but I come in and finish all the walls and all the parapets around the roof and all these patios. So I do know something, David. And how did he know this?
As the building goes up, the floors and the beams and the floors get thinner and thinner and lighter because they don't need that much support. My understanding is above the...
They still need support. A building has to be completely... It's a compilation of lug nuts, bolts, screws, frame. Everything creates a shear rating on every floor. And
the first impact was only about 4% of the building.
I just want to explain something here. So this is David Weiss trying to debunk live the vernage technique that's on the screen here. He said he had no idea what it was, but then he was giving you an example of how the top buildings of the floor are lighter, therefore this technique wouldn't work, he's saying, in reality, because the bottom floors are thicker. That's what do people understand that in real time, for someone to be able to have a debunk ready to go for the actual way that they demolish the buildings, that right there is a clear case of someone that's either on the inside trying to distract or divide or confuse people. I don't think there's a better argument. How is he trying to debunk vernage? He said he never heard it before.
Controlled opposition.
Buildings weight. And even if it was all the floors weighed the same amount and you had this 10-story block falling down, pulverizing the building below it, the block itself would also be pulverizing. So after 10 floors, there would be nothing left.
That's a lie.
If it was truly pulverized, if it was pancaking in building mass, that could explain taking out thicker and thicker floors on the bottom, possibly. But that's going through the path of most resistance. And even if each floor slowed it down for a half a second, because you have to slow down that mass to transfer the energy to destroy what's below it, that's 50 seconds. Okay? Additional to the falling speed.
But David, they do it now. Vernage is happening now. They're doing it with 30, 40-story buildings right now. It's already proven. So what you're saying doesn't count. Vernage
doesn't count.
Proven technology.
It's already proven. It doesn't count, David.
So David was debunked in this clip, right, with the vernage technique, and he was clearly trying to debunk it. He had that entire argument. So he's stating that it would have taken longer for the building to pancake than what it did. But then in his eyewitness statement, he said that the smoke stood there for a really long time. And everything just dropped. That's what he said, right?
Absolutely. So we will get into more of this grilling now by the Nacho. Let's go ahead and jump up to 717.
So, what other material did you find, when you were doing your research, other than Mark Sargent? Did you look at anybody else? Did you listen to anybody else? Did you read any books?
Yeah, Eric Dubay. I had synthetic astronomy. I was reading some of that. I didn't have a lot of books, and I was just kind of like looking, not believing, looking, and then testing myself. And, none of it made sense, and then, high pressure next to low pressure. That was interesting. And back then it was before Google Hangouts. So I ended up being on a lot of Skype calls, and we had these Skype calls with Nathan Oakley, and I think Patricia Steer was on there, and Antonio Subarats, and I forget the guy, John LeBon.
I was there.
Yeah, is there anybody that he's missing?
Yeah, I was there. Matrix Decode too.
Apparently, he forgot about that.
Yeah, no, he knows I was there because I debunked him live a few times in front of everybody. In the live stream that Jason was just showing, I had evidence where he was trying to pull some nonsense thing again back then.
Other people, we'd have these...
Other people, that was... He meant Ronnie.
Like for hours and hours and hours, and where we would just talk about this, and it was just kind of like our hangout.
And Bob, and Jaron, and Rob Skiba.
And, that was it. That's, just... everyone has the same story.
Nathan Oakley.
You try to debunk it. The more you look at it, the deeper you go, and then the more evidence you find that the globe is friggin' ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So you were there. You were in the middle of these conversations. You know exactly what went down. All right. So now he's going to transition into the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So initially, was the podcast that you were doing before you found out the Earth was flat? That was called Deep into the Rabbit Hole as well.
Deep inside the rabbit hole. Deep inside the rabbit hole. And it was all
deep inside. Okay.
Say it again.
Deep inside the rabbit hole. And
wow.
Yeah. How many times can you say in the rabbit hole? They went for a record there. David did forget to mention that he's like a certified hypnotist or whatever, like Tavistock mind control expert. All right, but yeah, he does have a podcast, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
It was all about, it was an audio podcast, and it was everything from 9/11, Boston, Sandy, all of that stuff. And I actually had the 9/11, Boston, and Sandy, those three, there's so much evidence that they're undeniable. So
he calls them the big three, right? That's what he got certified as a McGoohan.
No, that was Boston.
Yeah, one of the three he got.
PK. It was PK that did it, right? They've just sat there and listened to PK break it down. The trouser bomb.
Well, he still got Magooed. Yeah, and that's the important thing. You got Magooed.
I live right outside of New York City. I'm 45 minutes from the city. I have a perfect view of Lower Manhattan.
45 minutes from New York City. Perfect view of Lower Manhattan. He's given us the details where we know that he doesn't live in Connecticut. Listen.
I live right outside of New York City. I'm 45 minutes from the city. I have a perfect view of Lower Manhattan over the water.
Hold on. Did we get the clip from his old stream where he talked about when he went to the beach with the binoculars?
No, we didn't get that clip.
We need to go back and get that.
Yeah, so...
That was the most important part.
Yeah, if you can find that, we will play that.
Keep playing it, yeah.
All right.
Why couldn't they just apply that to the 9/11?
So, the Veronage collapses falling at that speed?
Yeah, you should. There's videos on the internet. Let's
see
Google
that.
it right now. Yeah. You're going to be blown away. I didn't even
Google it, David.
Even know this thing was true.
How do you spell Veronage?
Verinage. Okay. Veronage explosiveless demolition.
Look it up, people.
So it's explosiveless demolition, and the French term for that is Veronage.
Now, are they taking out steel reinforced concrete buildings?
Look at them. Watch the video.
I'll, I don't want to do it while we're talking on the show here, but
he doesn't want to look
until I view it myself and see what's going on. But it really, as far as physics go, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The example of a bowling ball falling through air versus a bowling ball falling through cement and steel.
I'm starting to wonder if
click over. Is that the end? Did you miss it? Because I know you started from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go back to his other clip. I'll look again.
All right. So here we are back at the Nacho grilling, and we're talking about the perfect view of New York City from his place. And once again, I just want to show everybody Lower Manhattan. This is Manhattan right here, Lower Manhattan, where the Twin Towers, now the One World Trade Center, is located right in this area right here. The only way you can see that over water is from Jersey or from Brooklyn. There is absolutely no way that can be seen from Connecticut up here. It's 100% impossible. The only way you can do that is from down here. And if you have waterfront property overlooking Lower Manhattan, this is going to be more than like $100 a square foot type stuff, right? It's going to be expensive stuff. So let's go on here and continue listening to this wretched lie.
But if you talk to somebody in China about they don't care. Russia, they don't care. Ohio.
Did Nacho laugh because he's in the Himalayas in China? Is that it?
They care less than we care. It's like, just separate yourselves a little bit and people just forget about it. It's amazing. But flat Earth, every single person on Earth, it affects them to their core.
Yeah. So
that was
can
powerful.
you tell us about the September event? Like, what are some of the major things about the September event? Let's
here we go. So we did cover his old stuff. Now he's getting into.
I got it.
Okay. Where should I go, brother?
I would say back to 27 20 27 25.
Got it.
Sorry, it should be here.
You see that the building, it kind of goes up and out and comes down, and there's that one big piece that she tracks down that turns into dust. I'm sure most 9/11 investigators know which video I'm talking about, and that's kind of what it looked like. That's really what it looked like to me. Of course, I couldn't see the individual pieces from my distance, but I saw the top of the building just puffed out, and then the whole thing came raining down, maybe at, two thicknesses of the building in width, it went out as wide as the building on each side, maybe that much. And it went down to the ground. The tower was gone. There was a shoot of smoke there where I'm like, no, the tower still has to be there. It can't be gone. But then on the radio, they're saying that the tower had collapsed. The tower collapsed, they kept saying. And, right there was some of the best mind programming of this event, until the Harley shirt guy came out and told us what happened.
I agree with you. I agree that's a lot of programming. I want to focus on your witness testimony because it's so rare. Would you mind?
All right, I think that's where we picked up before.
Yeah. Well, the main thing to take away is that so he had the eyewitness. It's too bad that people didn't have cameras. There wasn't enough cameras, and the witness that he referenced was the guy that said, "We watched as the planes creamed into the side of the building, and as they do to the hot temperatures of the jet fuel, the top floors then began pancaking down into its own footprint." He had the whole entire agenda. I think that guy caught the passport from one of the pilots too. He was, "Look at this."
Yeah. So now we're gonna get into his modern day rendition of the 9/11 events.
just talk about that for briefly, so we are on the same page or not.
Yeah. Well, so the morning of 9/11, I was packing my bag. I was going to fly to Ohio. I had I was in the printing industry back then, and I had a customer who was in New York City, and we were going to fly to Ohio together. And the first plane, the story of the first plane hit, and I'm looking at this going, And at that time, we thought it was just a little Cessna that crashed into the building. And I'm like, I wonder if this is going to delay my flight, because I was flying out of LaGuardia. And so I call my buddy John in the city.
Hold on.
And I'm like, where are you?
So like, now he's talking about going on a flight.
Yeah, he was going to fly that day.
Can we go back to the old video and go to 30 minutes 9 seconds? So now he was going on a flight somewhere. We were almost there. We were ready.
Until my discussion with you guys last week, where I didn't really think about what I saw through the binoculars, comparing it to all of the videos that I've seen and analyzed. And it was our discussion last week that made me think, what did I really see? And I remember that what I saw so vividly. Now, I'm not saying it was the same thing. I'm just saying I saw the towers go from top to bottom, puffed out in the smoke around the same time frame. I remember watching it, and it was bulging out. It was bulging out in the middle or below the fall line. That you could see this big bulge, and it just went down. Maybe 8 to 10 seconds. And then there was a column of smoke, and I remember that the column of smoke stayed there for longer than I would expect to.
So pause it. So he forgot in his new interview with Nacho that he had binoculars. That was a key thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just too bad that he didn't have a camera, right? So he knew how long it took for the supposed building to fall, even though he didn't see the bottom floors. So he couldn't corroborate that with actual witnessable evidence. But the key takeaway from that is that he learned about Vernage, and since I learned about that, I went around telling everybody, hey, this is how they did it. They didn't use some crazy secret top government technology. They don't even have that stuff. It's all nonsense. They just lie and make stuff up in the government.
Toasted cars, right?
They don't even do the projects. They're using planes from like the 40s still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people wake up. It's not what you think they are. But David, deep inside the rabbit hole, knows how they did 9/11, and he was an eyewitness, but yet he won't go around and actually share that truth with anybody. Still.
Nope.
So-and-so at the hospital. I'm like, are you got the TV on? No. I said, look out the window, turn the TV on. I go, a plane hit the tower, and right at that point, bam, allegedly the second plane hit the tower, and our phone call went out. And so I'm watching this on TV going, yeah, this is pretty sure my flight's canceled, right?
Wait a minute. Thought he was at the beach with the binoculars.
Yeah, but
what's going on here? That's a totally different story that we just heard.
Yeah, LaGuardia.
Now he wasn't at the beach with the binoculars? I'm confused here. I think Nacho missed the ball here. He should have done his info on what they previously said.
Yeah, you got JFK over here, and isn't LaGuardia the Jersey side? Pretty sure. I have to look into that, but yeah, there's no way you're seeing Lower Manhattan from Connecticut, bro. Not happening. You're not really my bro either.
I'm like, okay, my flight's canceled. And so I went down to the beach, and I'm watching the towers burning. I'm watching the smoke. And I watched the first tower turn into a puffball. It literally just turned into a puffball. And later, when I saw it on TV, that's not what I saw. What they showed us on TV is not what I saw. And it really had me questioning. So after the first one fell, I actually went and picked up my kids from school. They were in junior high. And my son was in junior high. And I didn't really do anything about it for 4 years until Loose Change came out. And Loose Change is like, now I get it. And that was kind of when I really started digging.
Hang on. Is that for real? David Weiss he's old enough to be my dad?
He won't tell you how old he is. That's actually
But
coming up.
I was, just finished high school, so not that far from junior college or junior high or whatever. But interesting, he doesn't look that old. Is Dave in his 60s? I mean,
He might be older.
for staying this healthy, I know he wears the hat or whatever. It's his yarmulke or whatever he wears it for, but at least the guy's in good shape and he takes care of himself. I'll give credit where credit's due.
All right, so here comes the age question.
I think that's true with how old were you at that time? I mean, you were already an adult. I mean, I was in university when that happened. So
University.
I don't identify with chronological age, so I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. No problem. Shout out to Brian Stavely. Shout out to Brian Stavely in the.
So he won't answer the question about how old he is, and all of a sudden he shouts out like a super shill, Stavely, who's maybe the only guy in the fake flat Earth that's shorter than David. Right? They're cut from the same piece of cloth that was never too long. Let's go to 1510.
Earth journey, I suppose. So when you really started to talk about it, that was like what, 2016? I mean, like around 2015, you woke up to it, it seems, and then you were, I don't know, spending some time, maybe about a month, to really, find out whether it is true or not. And once you discovered that it is true, then you wanted to put all your efforts.
Imagine these questions coming from a guy that doesn't know anything about flat Earth, hasn't been around it whatsoever, and now all of a sudden, I mean, he's just getting these questions on the fly from notes. Come on, listen to these.
Into flat Earth, and that's when you decided to leave your company, and you had your dispute with your.
This isn't a question. Stop it. He's reading what David wrote. Okay, it's like someone starts talking about, Jason, back when you lived on your first street and your telephone number was this, what was it that made you decide that you weren't going to go to college because you didn't like that professor?
Right.
Get out of here.
That you lost everything that you built, or does it mean you just had to sell or liquidate your portion or your stock of the company?
Wow, when I asked Will Dufas about his finances, I was the most evil guy in the world, but now all of a sudden Nacho is just getting into like the whole business practice and, how much did you have to liquidate?
Company to everybody else. And why was it a problem for your partners that you were a flat earther?
Sure. Well, it actually wasn't that quick. I didn't leave my company until COVID. So that was 2020. I was still in, corporate America at that time. And, my truth journey just started occupying more and more of my time. I was going after some Connecticut law firms that were involved with the Beachy School in.
So he's going after Connecticut law firms is his story. I mean, who goes after Connecticut law firms?
Connecticut. And turns out that those the same law firm that represents some of our clients that large solar projects for. So there's a conflict. And yeah, like I was literally frying some of these lawyers online.
As a flat earther, you're frying lawyers online because you're a flat earther? Get out of here.
Meanwhile, they're lawyers that are, approving our contracts with these other clients. And so, yeah, there was a big, my partner was 100% right. He's like, this is causing a conflict. And I said to him, you know what?
Sounds terrible.
I'll drop it. And he looked at me and he goes, you're never going to drop it. Right. And he was right. I'm never going to drop it. He was right. And I didn't believe him at that time, but I'm never going to drop it. Well, and just a
Nacho's not so bad no more.
Whether
switch.
He's happy now.
I should leave my company, and then I'll explain what leaving my company involved.
He's just giving it all.
I asked God, the creator. Yeah, I said, I need a sign. This is like the craziest thing ever. And I got some crazy signs. One, I can tell you the signs if you want. But I got the signs.
Let's hear 'em.
I was talking to Owen Benjamin after those signs.
That's a sign. Not a good sign.
How much did that cost, Dave?
And he goes, just walk away. It'll all work out. Just do it. And so I walked out.
Getting advice from Owen Benjamin.
Walked away. They bought me out. It wasn't a huge payout, but it was enough just to get me going, to cover my bills. And, everything always works out when you do the right thing.
So that was his payout. He got bought out. He could just cover the bills. Lives in Connecticut and has a lower Manhattan view. All right. None of these things are possible, people. All right. Let's keep going here. This is his sign from God.
I am interested in knowing what the signs were, if you would like to share that with us.
Sure. So, in America, the American dream is go to college, get a degree, get a job, work your way up to the top of the company. Maybe they never teach you about opening your own business, but I opened my own business. I became the CEO of my own business, and I was making lots of money. I had lots of free time. Worked hard, and I said, I'm thinking of leaving, which is the craziest thing ever. I kind of did what most people only dream of. And I said, can you give me a sign? And that day I go into the office and we do commercial solar projects, the large solar projects, because they're the same amount of effort as a residential solar project, but you make 100 times the money. All right.
That sounds good.
Residential. So we're not doing residential. My partner goes, hey, we're doing a residential job in upstate in New York here. And I'm like, really? Why? And I go, who? And he goes, the Clintons. We're doing the Clintons' house. We're putting
come
solar
on.
their house.
David Weiss had solar panels installed on the Clintons.
Yes. That's
Get out of here.
That was his sign from God.
Wow.
That was his sign from God right there. Doing the solar panels for the Clintons. How do you do the solar panels for the Clintons? Do you think you got to be connected to the Clintons somehow? You think they just pick up any Joe Blow? No.
House. And I'm like, I look up at the ceiling. I'm like, can you give me another sign? I said, can you? Okay, I hear you. Give me another sign. And my other sign was, it was either later that day or the next day. He goes, hey, we have these large solar systems on roofs, and we have easements on these roofs, so we have control over the roofs. He goes, all the buildings that we have easements on, we're going to lease out 5G towers. We're going to put 5G up with the solar. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm out. And then actually I had a call I was talking to Owen Benjamin when I was walking to my car that day, and he goes, just do it.
He's such a good guy. Hold on. So everybody that's tuning in right now, what a sweetheart of a guy, this David Weiss. So 5G and solar panels he's stating that they're toxic, and Hillary Clinton's house. So, I mean, okay, I'm pretty sure that we're okay. I don't want to say that that's our biggest problem is the 5G. Now, I know it's a deep conspiracy, but having a good exercising routine, a healthy diet, and getting the good amount of sun and the correct amount of rest, and not going too hard on anything individually, trying to be balanced. That's the way to be healthy and clean. Who grandstands on I quit because I didn't want to install 5G towers? What kind of credibility is he reaching for here? Is he going to bring Stinky Cash's dog onto the screen and start licking it and giving it treats here? Is that where we're going now?
Either the dog or Stinky Cash, one or the other.
And I mean, behind them, I get the bit now, is that the mountain in the Himalayas that were supposedly atop.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's at the Buddhist retreat or monk station at the top of Mount Everest, I guess. Yeah, so David, because they were doing solar for the Clintons, because they were going to sneakily put in 5G on all the rooftops where they're doing solar, David decided to bow out and become Flat Earth Dave, right? Seems credible. Not.
Do it. God will provide, and God does provide. When you do the right thing,
God,
I think the Creator has your back.
this was back in 2015 that you guys were already putting up 5G towers?
No, 2020.
2020, okay. So 2020, okay. But even 2020.
So David Weiss is the 5G guy. He didn't tell everybody that before, that he was the guy installing 5G. Right, that's a new revelation. Nacho dug that out of him with his grilling, right?
Yeah, he's probably said it before.
Like it must have been mid to late 2020 because 5G was not even approved until like March of 2020.
Whoa, he knew exactly the month that 5G.
Come on.
Yeah, he's tough. You're not gonna slide one past the Nacho.
Well, it was just when COVID started, and they were talking about these cellular companies were looking for rooftops to lease. So I wasn't involved in it. I don't know, I don't even know how it was being done. But when something gets approved, they're months, a year ahead. Is for
he knows. He's a CEO.
When he said that, I was just like, I'm out.
Okay.
Well,
so let us continue with some of the questions that we have for you. Dave, Mr. Weiss, do you have a handler?
Look at it. He cracked. He went from being the hardest interviewer of all time to cracking up when he asked Dave about him having a handler. So I'm just going to tell y'all, it's hard to believe, but the way the New World Order does this is the guy that asked the question that has the duping delight on his face is actually the handler. So how this Buddhist monk at the top of the Himalayas is David Weiss's handler, I don't know, but he's the guy that's
like it.
But he is the guy that's getting to ask David Weiss all the questions that nobody else could, right? And he's a nobody from nowhere. That's an issue for me.
No, but there's a Russian guy that makes videos that thinks that I do. He knows for a fact, 100%, that I have a woman handler that gets me on all of these shows.
So now all of a sudden, David's just going to sing like a bird.
So I actually had a young girl who lives at home with her mom who didn't have a job who said, can I help you get on some shows? I'm like, absolutely. And she did a shit ton of cold.
A young girl that didn't have a job asked if she could help me.
Yeah, for free.
Story.
A fan.
This is the handler?
No, the handler's right here. David's talking about his cold caller.
I'm sure I heard that his whole lead up here. This is how David got all his interviews because he goes on everyone's podcast. If you haven't noticed,
his cold caller,
except for ours.
And she got me on show after show after show after show for I don't know, a year, and that's how I first started getting on shows. But then we had a little falling out where she was putting me on like these little shit shows, and I would ask questions like, what are these guys into? Do they believe? I'd ask her a question, and she'd get pissed that I'm asking questions, and then she quit. And I never even found out who she was.
Never knew who she was. No,
it's like what do they call that? Like a secret agent without a name, like I'm no name, nameless.
Yeah, secret helper agent.
Out of here, secret nameless helper agent.
Yeah.
Oh, this
her real name. It was funny. I called her Alfred because of a funny story.
Alfred.
And but she was like 20.
So he thinks he's Batman, and that was supposedly Alfred, right?
Okay.
4 years old. So she wasn't a handler. She was a flat earther that was afraid of being public, that wanted to help me get on shows, and she did a great job for what she did. But now, I've gotten to the point where people kind of know who I am, and show requests are coming in fast and furious.
Okay, so like how did you guys communicate? I mean, like she contacted you, and then she said she's your fan, she heard you or whatever, and then she wants to help you.
I'm a fan. Can I just help you?
So she basically started working for you for free and just start cold calling all kinds of I don't know, like
100%.
podcasts or.
Yeah, 100% for free.
110%.
And, I think she started by saying, "Hey, this show, they were talking about flat Earth, and they, can I try to book you on that show?" Or she already had it booked or something. And I was like, "Awesome." But over the course of a year, I actually paid her once. I gave her. She needed some money. I forget I think it was just $500 or something.
Can't remember.
And I deposited it into a bank account in Greenwich.
In Greenwich, everybody's got a Greenwich bank account that is a secret agent. Cold caller, right?
Password Alfred, right?
In Greenwich. Get out of here.
And I don't even know her name. Honestly, I just had the account number. But that's it. That's the whole story. You want to call that a handler? That's not a handler. That's somebody that's helping me out. And I have other people now that are in the flat Earth community that, alert me to shows that were talking about flat Earth. They ping the shows, and it's a whole group effort now. People help get me on. And
of shills helping you out. Let's jump to 2516.
The show, she copped an attitude. And that was annoying, and we kind of just butted heads, and then she just disappeared and she stopped working. And that's fine. I mean, she did a great job, and I owe her greatly, and that's where we're at right now. And then other people say, how did you get on Roseanne Barr, which is coming out tomorrow, by the way, 7 p.m. Pacific, I think.
So that's something else that we're going to have to be going through. David was just on Roseanne, where we got that here. We did have that up. Yeah, so David plugged this, and we listened to it already, and it's obvious that this was pre-recorded a long time ago, and there's so much set up in it, but he actually traveled to be on set at Roseanne's place. So this isn't photoshopped. This is the two together, and these are both, what would you call them, Ronnie? Jays? Do we call them Jays?
They're self-proclaimed.
Absolutely. So he's doing the plug for him on Roseanne. He was just on Alex Jones. So he's doing the high level circuit right now, not just the Nacho circuit where we've got channels of 1.65 thousand subs that nobody's ever heard of before in their life. He was just on Roseanne Barr.
And it's because I've networked myself. I became friends with Eddie Bravo and David Avocado Wolf and all these other people. And when Eddie was on Roseanne, he started talking about flat Earth. She had that aha moment. I made a video of that aha moment. Roseanne saw it. Her and Eddie talked, and she booked me on her show. So stuff happens synergistically when you just put your intentions out there. I got a voicemail from Candace Owens yesterday, right? From after reaching out to her. So
it's just dropping for him right now, right? Candace Owens, Roseanne Barr, Alex Jones.
So I just want everybody to understand this really clear. I'm going to be concise. So the flat Earth is being set up to be destroyed. Okay, right? They're going to destroy it. Jaron Campanella from the Jaronism channel is going to go to Antarctica and say that the Earth is a ball, and he's going to have the videotape proof of it. That's what's going to happen. And so for about 6 months, they brought flat Earth back, and they've been putting it in the mainstream. They've been doing it everywhere they possibly can. They've got Flat Earth Dave. He's their biggest guy. He goes around telling them that outer space is real. It's here. It's the outer infinite pond Earth. So it's the Big Bang, but it's a flat Earth that's infinite, like the universe, but just flat, right? And that's what Dave's going around telling people. And he's going to be debunked. So they're mass booking him. He was on Alex Jones. Like, Alex Jones would never touch it. Now they're all over Flat Earth, right? And all the other different places. You got Alex Stein, who was put onto the Glenn Beck. He's all over it. You got Tim Pool, another you know what type of a character, and he's all over it. So the CIA, NSA, all of the different shill outward on the networks, all the Tavistock programming is gearing up. You're probably going to see it on the news. You're going to see it everywhere you possibly can. Dave is just riding it, and he's the non-flat Earth experiment candidate. He's not even involved in it. He's just going around telling everybody that the Earth is flat. Here's my app. Join it. There's a dating site on it.
So Nacho's going to start going on the topic of shills. Let's see how tough this gets for David Weiss.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because this word gets thrown around a lot. The word shill, grifter, controlled opposition. Can you explain to us what that
Why
word
did he
means
say
to
Fed?
you? What does it...
Agent? Why, like you said everyone but what he actually is, right? I mean, shill, a grifter. This is hilarious. They're going to get into this, except he didn't say Fed or agent.
What does a shill mean to you?
Yeah, a shill is somebody that that goes out ahead of some other people to promote something not real. Like, you know, the real.
He's saying to go out and promote something that's not real, such as the Freemason New World Order pressurized pizza dome, right?
Ding.
Definition of a shill is like back, you know, the stories from the old days, which I don't believe. A guy will go into town and hang out at the saloon and go, "Oh man, I got such a toothache. It's horrible. It's horrible." And then the next day, some snake oil salesman comes in and goes, "I got this special oil that will make your tooth go away, your tooth pain go away." And he'll be like, "Please let me try it." And everyone from the town will, "Yeah, try it." And he does it. And he goes, "Wow, it's perfect." That's a shill.
What? That's got to be one of the most stupid definitions I've ever heard. What a shill does is he'll go around and he'll infiltrate different groups, different teams, and he'll start parroting everything that they say. And then what the shill will do was then flip it, twist it, invert it, and mock it and make it look absolutely ridiculous, discrediting the actual truth of the original group. A shill puts out dis, mis, and malinformation. So what happens is a shill will come in and they'll put out a bunch of misinformation. Then the shill will go to another group of people and they'll come along and debunk that misinformation, therefore owning the argument and the debate.
I think this next clip right here is great.
Not a shill. Nobody, I'm not 100% sure you're not a shill. Now, we have God-given discernment, right? I have God-given discernment. I think you're an intentional, honest person. I don't know.
Intentional, honest, Himalayan Nacho guy, right? He knows this guy. This is the nobody from nowhere that nobody's ever heard of, and all of a sudden Dave thinks that he's not a shill.
Know you, right? But I can never be 100%. The only one that can be 100% that the person's not a shill is the person themselves. So when somebody says, "I have a handler, I'm a shill, I'm doing this," and I know those aren't true, basically they've just discredited themselves forever to me. And I try not to focus on any of that. So that's the idea of a shill. The grifter, like a grifter, I don't even. The word is stupid to me. I don't know.
Can I answer that one too? Okay, this is another character that I've been, challenging, debating, and debunking for the last 10 years. A grifter is somebody that begs for coffee change, that tells you to buy his T-shirts, that he can't keep making these videos unless you send him money. That's a grifter, right? Someone that's making profit off of the mis, dis, and malinformation that they spread. What a grifter will also do is use fear to then sell you a product. So the end times are happening, or the government is going to take over the world. We're all going to be enslaved. So you need to have a certain amount of food saved up because they're going to turn the power off. And then they'll sell you the slop that's just toxic, powdered nonsense that you just blend with water and it tastes like, I wouldn't even feed it to my chickens. And that's what a grifter is. He doesn't even want to talk about that because David Weiss has been profiting. Now, he doesn't talk about how much the app makes. And, if we look really deep into the app, it was Stinky Cash that came up with the clock idea. He stole that from another guy that did the Leah trip back to the homeland, right? But he was investigating them. He was double undercover. So we got triple undercover agents putting up information. He doesn't really talk about how much. Now, Mark Sargent is also involved in this app. Right? And a bunch of other characters who are not being named in all of this stuff are also involved. There was that deep dive that took place. Do you remember, Jason?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And all of that stuff, and none of that's being talked about. I don't even know if the app isn't just a front. I don't think that Dave even makes any money off of this. I think Dave spends his own money to do what he's doing here. I don't think he's profiting off the flat earth at all.
I think he's CIA, but he thinks the word grifter is stupid. He doesn't even want to consider that word, yet he's still going to call people grifters later on.
Anything to say about that?
Okay. So what about
he was able to crack the Nacho right there.
Is the controlled opposition similar to a shill? Are they synonymous with each other, or are they different things to you?
I guess they were the same thing, right? Don't you think?
I would probably say so. Like when people say somebody's a shill, I guess on one hand that could mean that they don't really represent what they are representing. You know, they're not really for, like, for example, if somebody's calling you a shill, Dave, that they're saying, well, he's not a true flat earther. He's just pretending to be one. And so, but I guess controlled opposition would be kind of similar in that sense, that it's like, why would somebody be claiming that they are a flat earther when they are not a flat earther, as an example? Right.
That's a good question.
That I always say that if you had to verify every single thing in your life, you would never get anywhere, because, you know, you have to.
Don't verify anything. You'll never get anywhere if you verify anything, David's going to tell you. The hypnotist, he's going to say, don't verify anything.
Verify that there's no mountain lions standing outside your door before you walk outside. You know, that you're never going to get anywhere. And I think we have, you know, our second sense, our gut, our you know, we're way more telepathic than they want us to know. And you have to trust your discernment. Anybody that thinks I'm a shill has no discernment, okay? But that's what I would say if I was a shill.
We can actually prove it. And now all of a sudden he's saying, that's what I would say if I was a shill. Look at this.
That's what he said, by the way. So there's really nothing I could say other than, you know, you got to trust your own discernment. People that think I'm a shill, that I'm doing this as a grift, right? There's people that tell me I should.
He doesn't like that word.
Raise the price on my app, right? I'm not ever.
That's what people are telling him. Raise the price on your app. Raise it.
Raising the price of the app because I don't need to. I don't need to, right?
Yeah, because he's got a $10 million house that overlooks Lower Manhattan. $10 million like 10, 15 years ago.
But, you know, a grift, like people get into flat earth for money. Are you kidding me? The amount of time and effort that all the flat earthers put in there. Look at Jaron, how much he works. What is he making? Nothing. I mean, he's making, I don't know what he makes, but it's nothing. And it's, you know, he's working for like $2 an hour. Okay. Whatever it is.
$2.
It's to say that flat earthers are doing this as a grift is just fucking retarded. I'm allowed to say that, by the way.
Oh.
Right, he's allowed to say that, right?
He's getting real mad at that one.
Yeah, well, the Nacho is not going to let that one slide.
Okay. Well, let me just address that real quick. If you don't know how much Jaron is making, then how can you say that he's making nothing?
He's told me.
Oh, pinned him right there.
He's told me. I think the number was like 30,000 a year, maybe.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so it was gross when I asked Will Duffy how much he makes. And now all of a sudden, the Nacho gets to ask Flat Earth Dave about money, and he's
Jaron too.
Yeah, he's spewing his gut how much Jaron makes. He makes $2 an hour, 30,000 a year.
Like that, you know, and that you can ask him. But again, you know, if he was making $100,000 a year, I'd say, wow, that's really a lot of effort for that amount of money.
Jaron doesn't do shit.
Okay, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm only asking because you said that he makes nothing, but then at the same time, you don't know how much he's making. So
yeah,
you do know how much he's making because you just gave us a number according to your.
I think that's what I remember him saying. I could be wrong, right? He could be lying also.
Okay.
I don't know, but if you look at him, look at how many subscribers he has. Look how many people have joined his club. Look how many people didn't buy his hats. You know, the guy's not making a lot of money, and he's talking about getting a regular job, which would be a fucking blow
He's going to become a gas.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Jaren's going to become like a gas station attendant or a stocker at the grocery store.
You know how many people have done this grift? We even have screenshots. Jaren was begging for money for 20 years, at least 10 years, for 10 years. So now David Weiss is doing a bit. So this is all leading up to, if people don't start paying Jaren, he's going to quit the truth movement.
Yeah, it would.
Come on.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to pump gas.
Antarctica. He's $40,000 or $50,000 Will is giving him to go to Antarctica. How's he going to quit the truth movement to get a real job because he's not making enough money? Get out of here. Is this really happening?
He's not going to be able to feed his face.
To the flat earth community, like him, like going working in a casino to make minimum wage.
Casino
is
as a dancer, I guess.
What is he gonna do?
is just horrible to even fathom that, and he's pissed off right now at the whole community because people are calling him a shill and because of the final experiments nonsense. It's disgusting what's going on.
Hold on.
But the thing is,
Nacho, that was your moment. Is he not going to ask him why he turned down the trip to Antarctica?
No, he forgot to ask that one.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Turn this podcast off right now. This guy is an absolute joke. Nacho, I can't even believe it. That exposes the whole entire interview.
That's like having nachos without cheese.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, stale ones too, really hard ones. You can't even chew it. There's just stale nachos, just crap, not even like real cheese at all. How can you miss the fact that David Weiss is the flat earth guy, the most popular? He owns the app, and he was offered the trip to Antarctica and he turned it down. How can you not nail him to the wall with that?
He cracked under the pressure of talking to his... Well, he's the handler, right? So I guess he didn't want to bring that up.
If you get too disgusted, you'll quit. And I just don't focus on all of the bullshit that's not going on out there. Otherwise, I'd quit.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Apparently he asked.
Let's kind of go back to Roseanne Barr and InfoWars. Okay, like before we go there, let me ask you, do you have any examples of anyone that like, I don't know, on YouTube or on TV that you would be comfortable calling a shill or a controlled opposition?
He's going to come up with not a single one.
No, I could think of two names that I'm surprised he's not about to say.
He can't come up with one name.
Anybody that you can come up with? Or you don't know of anybody that is
Think, Dave. Take the hat off. Take the hat off and let your brain breathe a little bit. Think hard. One shill? Can you name one shill?
I think there's far more shills out there. I don't have any proof of any of it. The Alex Jones thing. I think he's just grifting. He's just
the word that he couldn't say, he didn't believe in. Now all of a sudden, that's what Alex Jones is a grifter.
He's not in the intelligence
number one thing
agencies,
is to make money.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with Alex Jones being Bill Hicks, I sure believed that for a long time, but he's a fucking foot taller than Bill Hicks.
Get out of here. We saw you guys on camera. You're like...
I thought he was shorter than Bill Hicks.
Yeah, well, we saw David Weiss and Eddie Bravo and Alex Jones all together, and if you added all three of them up, you would get one Joe Rogan. All right?
No, Bill Hicks was a foot taller than Alex. Alex is really fucking short. I was standing next to him. So unless they lobbed him off at the knees or Bill Hicks was always wearing elevator shoes, but I was never standing next to Bill Hicks, so I don't know. I don't even know if McToon is.
How tall are you?
He doesn't even know if McToon's a shill.
Hold on, did he just ask about Tolly was?
Yeah, there's he can't name anybody, including McToon, as a shill. Can't do it.
I don't even know if McToon is.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 feet.
How tall are you?
6 feet. 6 feet, he said.
Really?
That's what he said.
Okay. Wow.
I think he's a liar.
Nah, he's got to be. Why would he lie?
Move on.
Yeah, we've seen the pictures before, and we saw him next to Alex Jones. I mean, if this guy is even 5'6", I would be shocked, super shocked.
You're 6 foot, and how tall is Alex? Because like when I saw you guys next to each other, he is like super short, like 5'2", 5'3", something like this. He's
like 4 Rogans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alex is like 5'2", and Dave stood next to him and wasn't any taller than him. What does that make Dave, right?
Okay, so you think McToon's? You think McToon is?
he did snort.
To show some of these globe earthers who are, Professor Dave. Go ahead.
I don't know if they're shills, because I actually think McToon is just fucking brainwashed. And here's the question: I believe that there's evil spirits, and there's pro-angelic spirits, and I believe that people allow evil spirits
and pro-angelic.
Wow.
Spirits to take over their body. If I had to guess, McToon is literally possessed by an evil spirit, and
but that doesn't make him a shill. He's a non-shill evil spirit.
Wow, he's possessed by a demon, McToon, huh? Wow.
But not a shill.
He's a smart guy as far as memorization and math and stuff. None of that proves anything other than he's just loves debating. And then you have people like Ozian, right? That guy just admits he wants to do this for a living. He likes taking the opposite side no matter what it is, and he'll never ever admit a defeat. Like you can have him, he'll take either side of a debate and then he'll swear by it. So people like that absolutely disgust me. When I met by accident MC2 and he shook my hand, it was horrifying to me.
Ooh.
It was disgusting. The energy coming off of that guy, I felt it. I still feel it when I talk about it. Right? So is he a shill? I think that he's just a
demon,
a friggin' evil, possessed, monster. Is Dave Farina a shill? I think he just loves his YouTube money and he'll say anything for it. Is what's the other guy? Dave McGoohan? I think he just loves his YouTube money too. But they could be incentivized. They may not even know that they're shills. Like McGoohan is making all this money on YouTube from his views, and and Professor Dave and Simon Dan. Maybe they.
You think YouTube promoted these guys and put them to the top without them knowing what it is that they have to do?
Yeah.
Let's jump up to 42. 42.
Okay. What about this question about Freemason, like that you belong to Freemasonry or something like this? How did that accusation come about? And are you a Freemason? And of course, we know that even if you deny it, we cannot 100% believe you. But what is your?
So this Nachiketa, the Nacho, is going hard right here.
Here we go. Are you a Freemason?
What is your comment on that?
Yeah, my comment is I know less about Freemasonry than probably everyone listening to the show. I've never really researched it or anything. I am not a Freemason. I've never taken a secret oath in any way, shape, or form. What happened was the dumbest channel on the internet, and I try not to say their name, but I'll just say it, Awake Souls.
What?
You're getting named in this one now?
Getting named. All of a sudden, we're the dumbest channel in the world. And this cretin will not even take a debate with us. So we're getting named as being responsible for him being exposed as a Freemason. That's all thanks to you, brother, because you knew, right? You had heard.
Yeah, well, RV did a lot of it too. Let's keep going.
They did a thing where I was on with PK from Australia, who really broke down the Boston bombing like nobody else. And he was very unorganized, so I helped him organize the presentation. We did
Dave
it
was his handler.
live on Caravan to Midnight. It went for like 3 hours, I think. And we took the whole show, and it blew John B. Wells away. He had no idea how friggin' fake the event was. And at the end, John goes, "Boys, I want to honor you." And he wanted to put us on his Wall of Fame. And for his Wall of Fame, he does a stupid indoctrination where he knights us.
Stupid indoctrination where he knights us. It's actually the Order of Magoo he talked about. Right? And then, as an Arc Knight.
Knights of the Arc Midnight. That's the name of his show, the Arc Midnight, or whatever it is. He knighted us in the name of some stupid television show that he used to watch in the 60s. And we both said, "Oh, wow, we're honored." PK actually cried. He was so...
The Order of Magoo.
Let me hear that again. PK cried. He was so grateful.
He knighted us in the name of some stupid television show that he used to watch in the 60s. And we both said, "Oh, wow, we're honored." PK actually cried. He was so... he got all of his life's work on this came out. And John was honored, put us on the Wall of Fame. Those two assholes...
It's just too great, those two assholes. So, okay, everybody, PK got his start. I told you earlier, I was on a podcast called We'll Do It Live. Jeff C., he's gone now. He died before coronavirus. And Red Pill Revolution was the channel that started it. And PK was a guest guy that came on, and he was hilarious. And he was from Australia, and he was again another one of these 2-bit B-roll actors. He was a famous actor in a bunch of movies, and he became a truther, right, and began breaking down hoaxes. And so they were on, and PK did do a great job breaking down Boston bombing. He invented the trouser bomb pants because you could clearly tell that it was a psyop. So that was all absolutely hilarious. You got to go back a couple of clicks. I just wanted everybody to know about PK's backstory. He was funny. PK was a talented guy. He was funny, and he did break down how fake the Boston bombing was, right?
I thought I had a tab open for the Order of Magoo. Everybody look it up. It's hilarious crap.
"Oh, wow, we're honored." PK actually cried. He was so... because he got all of his life's work on this came out. And John was honored, put us on the Wall of Fame. Those two assholes on the way, Awake Souls,
and
they took...
And Dave was taken down off the wall because of Flat Earth.
Because of Flat Earth. He's not a Order of Magoo anymore.
No, he got his knighthood taken away.
Took our pictures. They put... they photoshopped us into Freemason outfits, literally like friggin' South Park quality. Right? And they put it out there, and then RV runs with it on 100 fucking videos saying that we're Freemasons. That's where it came from. Literally.
Well, that's not it, because you also got outed with the ladder thing, but that's coming up.
RV played it over. Let me hear that again. Even he's laughing at the whole thing.
Yeah, this is cracking the Nacho here.
They photoshopped us into Freemason outfits, literally like friggin' South Park quality, right? And they put it out there, and then RV runs with it on 100 fucking videos saying that we're Freemasons. That's where it came from. Literally, these guys photoshopped us in there.
More, but...
And then they said, and RV played the clip. Now, I have the clip. If anybody wants to see it, stoplookthink.com, go to the Boston page, and I think it's the...
We've got a better version of it by a long shot.
I mean, this is how we got it. So Jaron Campanella had us on because we were doing serious damage against their team. Breaking down the fake fight between Brian, High Impact Flicks, and he was fighting with, was it RV? I mean, an RV, and they were all fighting, and we were covering it, and Jaron...
Richie from Boston.
Yeah, everybody was involved in that stupid division psyop. That's how they break up the groups. They have fake fights, and then everybody, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You side with RV, and I'm with Brian. And so the whole thing went down like that. We went on the podcast. They did a bunch of nonsense, played a bunch of satanic videos, had Kelsey Kerwan and Alex Stein doing nothing but nonsense, distractionary tactics. But I asked Dave, for the clip. I remember when you were on with John B. Wells and Dave... He threw it out there, gave me the clip, and then we made it into a video. But the truth of it is because he was actually photographed with Dick Hummer, who was the MC for the Flat Earth community, where he got people to shout out, "We're not crazy," at all the fake Flat Earth conferences. So him and I think he gets into it. They did the backwards ladder pose, which is a completely mocking. All you got to do is type in standing backwards on a ladder Freemason pose, and you're going to see the image that they were portraying. And that's the real reason why. And, you know, I'm pretty sure David is connected to a bunch of Freemasons.
Yeah, those stamps are coming up here.
So let me ask you, Dave, why do you call this channel the dumbest channel on YouTube?
Oh, those guys, if you listen to them, you
Other
actually
than the
lose
fact that
brain
they call
cells. If you just hear their
what,
name,
anything specific?
your brain cells die. These guys are so dumb. If you just listen to them, they're so dumb. I haven't listened to them in years. They're so dumb, but they think they're so smart. And everyone that ends up listening to them agrees. They're just literally the dumbest guys on the internet. By far. Hands down. There's no competition.
Hands down. Wow.
Okay, you can have that opinion. I'm just asking, is there anything that you can just throw out there?
A specific
examples that
specifically, Dave.
can actually take a listen to, other than you saying that they are a dumb channel and we have to take your word for it. But is there anything that they believe that you think is completely crazy or whatever?
Sure. We interviewed them on Jaren's channel. Maybe you can find it over there. Just search Jaren's channel for the name of their channel. And if you just listen to that interview, you'd be like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Right. And they have this.
No, it's very, very clear. Stereographic virtual reality, where we have a model that's accurate to 100th of a degree per second anywhere on Earth any day of the year.
Crazy Pac-Man map that they believe.
So every single time we have somebody say the words Pac-Man, simulation, any of these things, that's not what we promote. So it's always a New World Order shill that uses those words every single time, because this is not what comes from us.
Come on, Dave. Come on.
But when we question them about north-south movements, their answers are just really, really dumb.
What?
And I'm up for other ideas.
North-south movements. He's up for other ideas, though, right?
Yeah,
but
okay,
not ours.
Ideas on how the sun works and everything, and you can't
But he'll
explain
tell
anything to these guys, and their explanations for the things.
You know, it's the other way around. You can't explain anything to Dave. We've debunked the Freemason World Order pressurized pizza dome so many times.
Yeah, that's why we're the dumbest, because we destroyed their model like 8 years ago. And the funny thing is he'll go around to the other side of his mouth and tell you that he believes The Matrix was a documentary, not a movie, right? We live in a matrix, in a virtual reality. That's, and then he'll come out here and say this stuff, and then he'll believe in intentions and the Mandela effect and all this other woohoo type stuff that only works in a virtual reality.
So here comes the latter thing.
Things that they have make absolutely no sense. So I don't give them any attention. I've forgotten all the dumb shit they say. Go watch their channel. Go find the interview that Jaren did with them.
Yes.
And you'll probably come to the same conclusion, but that'll just be your opinion also.
Your opinion, right?
Okay.
Thanks for the promotion there, Dave.
So you're not a Freemason, and obviously we can't know 100% whether you are or you're not, but that all stemmed from Awake Souls and RV running with it. And I guess some people are aware that you made some poses or something next to a ladder, and was there some 33 involved? What was going on with that?
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. So we had a conference in, I think it was Dallas, Texas, and we were hanging out at Chris Pontius's place afterwards, having some beers. This was just when COVID was kicked in. Rick Hummer was going to the store, and
Rick Hummer. So does anybody remember who Rick Hummer is? Roland Reddy, the guy that interviewed like a
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Mm-hmm. He decided to wear a bee's mask, a beekeeper's mask instead of a mask, right? Because they wouldn't let him in the store to go buy beer. And we all said, what beer do we want? And we all thought it was funny. Coronas. I actually used to drink Coronas when I drank a lot of beer. And we'd like, hey, get Coronas. That's kind of funny. That's funny, right? And
it's
then,
not funny.
He comes.
That did not crack the Nacho whatsoever. Not a single smile.
Back, and we're all hanging out outside. And Chris had very few chairs because he's an artist. He doesn't think about having large people over, and we're exhausted
here.
He's calling himself large. No, you're not a large person, Dave. And yeah, now all of a sudden, all artists, there's no chairs around. If you're an artist, they don't sit; they just stand.
Exhausted from being at the conference all day, and he has solar panels on his roof, and he was letting people go up and look at his solar panels. He was very proud of them. He put them up himself. And so
David Weiss, the largest solar commercial contractor that installed the solar panels at the Bill Clinton's house, right? So obviously he's going to go check out the solar install.
there was a ladder leaning up against the building. And so I sat on it. I turned around while we were hanging out because I was tired of standing. I sat on the ladder. I had my Corona beer, and he thinks that makes me a Freemason, right? I didn't even know that Freemasons sit on ladders backwards. I don't know. It's kind of stupid.
So
It's
hold
really
on.
stupid.
It's very
open
stupid.
The link? Let's get a pause. And I don't have the picture. You have to go to one of RV's videos where you have to type in David Weiss on RV's channel. We don't have the image here. But if you click on the link that I put in the chat, I just want everybody to actually see what they were actually doing. Apparently, it's chapter 8 of the Mason tracing boards symbolism. So there was two guys. I guess there was no girl at the top. But they were both sitting backwards on the ladder, exactly the way that this is depicted in this Freemason lore. It describes Jacob's ladder. I don't know if you've opened the link yet.
I'm trying to. It opened in a different program, so I'm trying to figure it out.
You got to move it over to your other tabs.
Oh, it's.
We'll see if that works when you try to open it again.
Yeah, I gotta.
But yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody sees it. It's he's just trying to play it off like it's not a joke, but it clearly is. It's not a joke, I'm saying. It's a clear Freemason symbolism thing that they're doing. And what they do, the revelation of the method, is they do those overt things, and if nobody challenges on them, it gives them like witchcraft power, like in a video game or a card game, you know, how come it's not working? It didn't open correct. You have to disable the ad blocker. They really want to make money on this. You had it open in the other one. You couldn't have just dragged it into the other.
It's a different program.
Oh, you need it to open in Google.
So,
yeah. Basically, what it is, you're not going to be able to do it. I put it in the chat. Basically, we see it's a Freemason symbolism, which is all about self-development. Then we have two plumb bobs, a square, leaning against a pillar pointing upwards. These can be interpreted as phallic symbols. Then coming off the floor, we have a ladder, which Masons tell us is Jacob's ladder from the Bible. And at the base of the ladder, we have a compass and a square symbol laying on the spine of a book. And basically what you have is two characters standing, one sitting on the ladder backwards. And it's exactly what Rick and Dave were doing. And you'd have to be an absolute idiot to not see that they were actually trying to, you got it. That you could not see that they were trying to portray this, standing backwards on the ladder. Holding their Coronas, which is CC, which is 33, right? You have the Corona. Each of them had one C Corona beer, and they had the CC, which is the Corona. And it was all exposed. It was IPS, Infinite Plane Society, the guy that's got all the penguins. He had Dick Hummer on, and basically he called him straight out as a Freemason, saying that you're level on the level, all this other nonsense they were talking about. So why Dave is just denying all this stuff? It's silly. When you get caught, just say, yeah, okay, we were taking the piss is usually what most people say when they're doing these types of revelation of the method. They always say that we were joking, but Dave's just going to deny it.
Where did here we go.
Actually.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think some people are maybe they're aware or maybe they're not aware. But is it true that you have a Jewish lineage? Would you consider yourself Jewish, or do you identify yourself?
It's going hard.
As a Jew? And if so, what are your thoughts about Israel?
Yeah. So my, I believe both of my parents were Jewish.
He believes. He can't remember. He just sort of thinks maybe.
Cared, right? We went to temple a little bit, very on and off, and then mostly off when I was a kid. I didn't even get bar mitzvahed when I was 13. But when
that's horrible.
When I was 16, my father got remarried to a very Jewish woman, and she was horrified that I wasn't bar mitzvahed and wanted me to get bar mitzvahed, and I had no interest. And she was really adamant about it. My father goes, just do it. You'll get lots of gifts. You just go and
just do it.
We'll give you the rabbi will teach you like once a week for 4 weeks, and then you do it and you'll have a big party. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I did. Got a lot of people gave me checks and calculators.
All right, so he is bar mitzvahed.
All sorts of stupid shit.
Him and Drake.
And so I did that. So I got bar mitzvah when I was 16. I didn't know what I said. I don't know anything about it. The Jewish holidays, I could probably name them, but I couldn't tell you when they are. I think Rosh Hashanah is the New Year's. I could give a shit about any of that. How do I feel about Israel? I know less about Israel than anybody else, other than right now, they're fucking in a war that seems like fucking genocide.
Not real.
Not real. So he's not going to tell you that war is theater and Freemason theater and that it's all BS. He's going to play like it's real.
Yeah, if you've seen 1984, they always have to have the big bad war where you'll never actually be able to witness it so that they can control you.
Let's jump ahead here.
Think there's any legitimacy to the claim that the Jays are kind of, running the show, or they are very much part of a lot of different institutions that seems to be quite nefarious. Do you think there's anything legitimate there or not?
So he just acknowledged that he is of the Jays, and now the question from the Nacho is do they control the world? And here's David's take on his people.
Well, if you look at the number of Jays according to the world population, if you believe that, it's a very low percentage, but the percentage of the ones in power in this world are a super high percentage that are Jays. So fuck yeah, you're in the club. If you're in the club and they like, they're controlling.
So Dave's in the club. He's telling you, yeah, F yeah. He's saying, look at that look on his face. He's like, F yeah, I'm in the club.
A lot of stuff. It's not a theory. It's a fact. All of these people that are in these superpower positions are Jays. All right. I'm not saying that makes them good or bad. It's just a fact that they're in these positions. How did that happen?
How did it happen?
Wow, he just slammed that one down, right?
They're just smarter than everyone else, he's going to say.
You know what? When you're in a power position, you want to invite your brothers and sisters, your Freemasons, the Jays, whatever.
What? You want to invite your brothers, sisters, the Freemasons, invite all them?
People in power, like flat earthers. We're only going to hire flat earthers. When we have businesses, we're only hiring flat earthers. How did that happen?
So he's continuing the tradition, huh?
Yeah, when he has fake flat earthers, you only hire fake flat earthers, right? That's what he's saying.
And how did everyone become a flat earther that works for this company? Because that's what we do, So it's not much different. So
that's what we do.
They bring in their own.
We do.
To control things. So yeah,
that's hilarious. So hold on, pause it. Okay. We control things. That's what he just said. Just everybody. I want everybody to understand that the people that they're calling Jews, most of them are just like me and you. I mean, there are a group of them that are powerful, but you have that in every group, in every race. And as soon as you have a scapegoat, everything can be pinned on them, and it's an absolute crazy psyop. If you know, the Rothschild family actually owns Israel, right? Not the so-called Jewish people. It's the Rothschild family owns it all. So everything that you hear that comes out from any of these agents, if anybody's telling you that Hister was a good guy and that you got to name the people with the mini hats and all that stuff, it's an absolute psyop and a hoax, and it's being used to take you down. Learn who's behind everything, and you'll follow the trail back to the Club of Rome.
All right, so he's going to get into his app here.
But then I wanted a clock that had a moon hand. I was like, that shouldn't be hard to find. Couldn't find it. Went to a clock motor place. I said, hey, I want to develop a clock motor that has a third hand that goes at this speed. And they said, the prototype will cost me $250,000. And I was like, okay, I'm out.
He wants to make a clock that has a hand that operates at a different speed than the other two. And that, he says, is going to cost him $250,000. All right, so anybody can make a clock hand move at any speed with like a rheostat, and that doesn't cost $250,000. Dave, I could have done that for you for $10.
And right at that point, I was like, I had made an app before. I was like, this could be an app. And then it all came together really well from there. So I made the app, and I kind of just made it for myself, so I can use it when talking to people. But then everyone's like, where do I get the app? Where do I get the app? So I made it free. And then people said, oh, you got to add this, you got to add that. So I started adding things. Now I'm spending a few $1,000s. And I was like, maybe if I charge for the app, I can pay for future enhancements. So I charged $3 and people started buying it. So so went from there, added more and more features. And then some of the features I started adding, like the friend finder and everything, those actually use data and costs. I need servers and all sorts of stuff. And those features actually end up making each app user cost me more than the cost of the app, which was $3.
Do you understand how stupid that is? So having data about being able to track a person in everything that they do, say, everything, their bank accounts, every single thing about a person, that is what companies pay money to have. Right. And all of a sudden David's saying having all that data is going to cost him. So he had to charge. Yeah.
So the people that are adding the app are actually costing him money. He's losing money the more popular it gets.
No.
So I said, all right, for these additional features, I'll just add a subscription. I make it cheap. I made it $11 because I like the number 11.
And
he he likes that. So it was $3. Now it's 11. He just likes the numbers 3 and 11.
Ching ching.
And that would help. That would cover the costs, of having these features on there. So I did that, and it seems to work. And I keep adding more and more stuff. I got some new updates coming. I got a open source version, a Mac version coming out, and then after that, a computer website version, so people can just use it on their computer. And all of these things cost lots of money.
Oh, it's so expensive. I feel so bad for you, Dave. You've got 185,000 people that are paying $3 or $11 based on what features that they're using. I don't think you're hurting that bad. So let's jump to a 121.53. We're going to start moving through this a little bit quicker. Most of the goods was in the beginning.
Didn't he say that the app literally untracks you? I guess we blew past that part. I remember that. It was a funny takeaway. That's because Nacho continued to grill him. And
yeah, that's okay. That is the end of that one. So let's go 103. Let's finish that one.
I mean, when I heard that in the background, wow. The worst car salesman, The microphone we install in your car isn't to actually listen to you. It's so that you can talk to the car. It's like, come on.
Here we go.
Okay.
Awkward silence.
Let's continue on with the conversation regarding the friend finder. So, is the app actually keeping track of people, and does it record, I don't know, chats and conversations? I'm not really too familiar with it. I had it for a little while, but I did get rid of it. But I just don't have a lot of time to spend time on the app myself. But tell us what's going on with the app. Yeah.
So the app actually is for people that are looking for flat Earth content. It saves you time because it delivers the content for you that's being hidden from you. We're we put all the good stuff ends up on the app. So for people that are researching flat Earth, that $3 saves you tons and tons of time. As far
it's all disinformation, every single piece of it.
Yeah.
Truth tracking goes, if you're worried about tracking, get rid of your smartphone because it's tracking you. Your calculator app is tracking you. Your bank app is tracking you. Everything is tracking your exact position. If you don't think your phone is...
So Dave is tracking your exact position, he's telling you, because...
As well, yeah.
Your phone does.
Darren says, NASA's allowed to steal money from people. Why can't I? Right? That's literally what
you. You don't even know that your phone... You know how Apple AirTags work? People that have Apple AirTags, they're not connecting to the internet. They're connecting to anyone's phone that's walking by. Your phone reports the position of that AirTag to Apple, and then it goes on to a map. So whether you know it or not, you're tracking other people with your phone. You're being tracked with your phone, and it's showing your exact location. The app, by default, puts you within a 5-mile radius in a random spot. So one could say, if you're worried about being tracked with your phone but want to keep your phone, get my app, because it confuses them on where you are, because it doesn't put you in the exact location. So my app actually untracks you.
The Untracker app.
The Untracker, my app. Don't worry, you get this app, it won't track you. It'll make sure no one else tracks you anymore.
It's the Untracker app.
Oh, you guys, this is too much for a Friday night. This has got to be one of the... I'm just over the top. This is hilarious. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Get the Flat Earth app. It untracks you.
Okay. And obviously, this is one of the big discussions nowadays. And then we're going to we can transition into the final experiment, because the final experiment is pertaining to the AE map versus the globe map.
False dichotomy
model. But at the end of the day, it is only a model. Wouldn't you agree that the AE map that you have featured on your app, the Zodiac app, is just a model, right?
I agree that it's just a model, but it's a better model than the globe. And if we look
globe.
at
it is the globe.
Where's your model? Where's your model? Let me show you. Here's our model right here. This is a 40-year-old terrain.
This is the model right here.
This is David's model.
Yeah, it's a 40-year-old 40-year-old terrarium with a cork in the top of it.
Wow.
Yeah, 40 years. None of those plants have had
terrarium, right? It's been sealed for 40 years. It's got living creatures in there. It's got, plants. It's got water, and it's just recycled. Here's a closed system with oxygen and carbon dioxide and a living system. Here's our model right here. Where's your model? Show me a ball with water on the outside with shit growing that can self-sustain. You can't. We have a better model than them.
Well, we actually have a model that's accurate to a 100th of a degree per second, and it's not a corked bottle from 40 years ago.
Yeah, we can point at the sun's position anywhere on the plane.
Let's jump ahead here a little.
It's absolutely the dumbest crap ever. So we can see too far. The fact that stars never change, right? We're whirling and twirling in 15 different directions at once at unimaginable speeds, and we're going like this, and none of the stars ever change. Oh, they're so far away, But then when you look at the angular, the inverse square law of size and of light, none of it makes any sense.
This stuff's a little boring. Let's jump ahead to 121.53.
On a super, super clear day, we have, where is it?
More misinformation. He's showing
right, here we go.
Waves of the atmosphere, making bad observations. All he does is offend people.
I filmed the sun. It was going down, 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 down,
Oh,
down.
this.
Yes, the sun fade out. So Ronnie and I were actually there for the release of this when it was supposedly a live stream, but we were calling out that this was just CGI video that was being played and passed off as being a live stream. And David actually even reacts to us in this live stream. So he put it all behind it's unlisted stuff now, but he just keeps sharing this over and over and over. And he has the sun fade out, and this is just fake as F.
You'll never find anyone in the world that's ever filmed this other than him.
Yeah.
It got to the horizon, the apparent horizon, it stopped. And it just sat there. It just sat there. Okay?
Nobody's watched sunset in the world.
Myself back in the picture here. There we go. It just sat there, and it stopped going down. Right? And it just faded out. Its light can no longer push through the atmosphere. Now,
this is the wizard hypnotist telling you that the sun just fades out like that, And you're supposed to believe that that's real. But apparently people aren't capable of watching a sunrise or a sunset for themselves, right? Get out of here.
The Globers will go, use a solar filter, use a solar filter. A solar filter would make it so you can't see that. The sun was up in the sky. It was going down, 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 down. And when it got to the horizon, it stopped. I don't care if it's in focus, out of focus, glare, no glare. It stopped
It's a pause.
and it sat
You paused
there.
the
If we're
editor.
on a spinning ball, it would
not
always
even the
move
sun.
the same distance. It does move about 15 degrees through our personal atmospheric dome all day long. But when it gets down low,
We all got a
if you
solid
can still
firmament
see it,
over
if
our
it doesn't
heads.
go beyond,
He says that the sun fades out because it's going away from you, yet not a single person's ever seen that. And the only proof that he's got is a faked live stream of his own.
Yeah.
the apparent horizon that looks like it's at your eye level, but it's above your eye level, so it goes beyond, right? You'll see this.
No.
I've never seen that. You know,
No.
I've watched thousands of sunsets. Yeah, because you didn't put a drone up on a super cold day, on a super clear day, and filmed it without a solar filter so you can actually see what's going on. Think about this. We're spinning. That's making the sun appear to go down, right? There's no
This is
explanation
witchcraft.
for it going down, 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 and then stopping.
It doesn't.
Stops.
It doesn't
But
stop.
Nobody gets to look at that. Nobody really gets to see that. And
We
it
have a drone.
fades out.
Does
into
not.
the darkness, into the thickness.
The thickness.
What about the info?
What was that?
It fades into the thickness, he said. That's horrible. Let's go to 128.55. Yeah, the thickness.
We're gonna have to get the drone out and do some more.
Never
filming
understand.
for Dave.
But you can easily prove this isn't a 93 million mile away moon.
Ah, what's the other problem with it? It's a moon that's below the airplane. Right, in the pressurized pizza dome, that moon would have to be 3,000 miles high, but we know that airplanes do not fly 3,000 miles high. So what he's showing right here is a debunk of the Freemason World Order pressurized pizza dome. Watch.
Right there. It's something else.
Okay. Yeah. So what about gravity? How would you explain gravity? Are objects falling to the ground, or
Let's jump ahead to 157.
He's going to use magnetics because that's how they're going to prove that the Earth is a ball. They're going to use their whole magnetic grift. That's coming after they prove the Earth is a ball from the Antarctic experiment. Then they're going to prove magnetics are real. And then Dell is going to prove that the Earth is actually flying through space with his Earth rising upward experiments.
Oh.
Stay tuned, Flat Earthers.
There you go.
okay? Okay, thank you for that, and I appreciate your views, Dave. But so like, I guess my opinion on the matter is that Jaron can probably speak for himself. But you've known Jaron very closely, and you probably knew that he didn't actually mean that it's gonna be more on the globe side or whatnot, right? But like, it's just maybe he just misspoke, as you said.
It is more on the globe side.
sorry, go
I
ahead.
agree with that.
More on, he agrees. So if he sees it, if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, now all of a sudden Dave's saying, yeah, that debunks our model.
It is more on the globe side. If we see a sun going around, that matches the globe model more than it matches the flat Earth model. The flat Earth model really.
What about the model we have that predicts it 200th of a degree per second? Not that one, no.
On a plane.
Doesn't have a
Stationary
good
plane.
explanation for that, and the globe model does. Does that make the Earth a globe? No, because first you have to verify. Was that real? What did we see? Maybe there's another explanation, but it doesn't get rid of the no curvature. It doesn't get rid of the no motion. It doesn't get rid of
He's
all
right.
of the other proofs that the Earth is a level stationary plane. Right? It's an issue, but I think he's so confident that if they try to fake it, he'll be able to expose it. But
He coughs on that. Yeah, we know why you coughed right there, Dave.
but if there's a bright light in the sky and the sky stays lit, doesn't matter what we say. They're going to run with the story. Flat Earthers prove the globe and don't like the result, even though they filmed it.
True.
Oh, so this right here is literally the line that's going to be on It's going to be the headline.
And movies.
Yeah.
They're going to run with the story. Flat Earthers prove the globe and don't like the result, even though they filmed it themselves.
That was the line. That was the line. So the handler Nacho was able to eke that line out of Dave right there.
Got it from him. Got it.
Okay, but don't you think, Dave, that at this point, with
Awkward
all the
silence.
hype around the final experiment and this conversation about Jaren and Witsit potentially going down to Antarctica, that to go is kind of damning, and to not to go is also equally damning, if not worse, right? Because then we're playing a game of chicken, right? And then they will claim, well, the flat earthers are not going to follow through with it because they're afraid to see the results, right? So how do we navigate, do you think, as a quote-unquote flat earth community around this topic?
So remember, this is some guy from the Himalayas that nobody's ever heard of before, that knows nothing about flat earth, that's asking David Weiss this question right here. His handler, right?
I just think that, with all these charges against Will and him being a fraudster and a liar, that people have to realize that he's up to no good and he can't be trusted, and walk away from the whole thing. That's what I think. Because they'll try to film some stuff, but at least they can't say flat earthers filmed it and denied it. They could say, oh, we filmed it. And, but the thing is, people have been going to Antarctica for decades. No one has seen the 24-hour sun, but he's going to see it this time? I don't think so.
We've got 8K 360 cam footage. We've got a 14-day never-setting moon that goes from full moon to crescent moon. What more do you need, Dave? What more?
So I think it's a massive deception, and he's the fact that he named it the final experiment. This isn't him. This is not his doings, in my opinion. This is not him. He'll just claim it is, and he just wants to put an end to it, and he'll become a flat earther if the sun sets. Bullshit.
Dave absolutely snorted there. Last timestamp of the night, everybody. Let's go to 2/13/26. 2/13/26.
And there's so many people that do that, but there's a lot of people that just get caught up in the emotions and the accusations, right? I think Jaren is a good friend of mine. At least he is to me. Hopefully I am to him. And I think there's not a dishonest bone in his body.
Wow.
And that
the guy that has the Bitcoin scamming and the witchcraft store online and all that kind of stuff, not one dishonest bone in Jaren, right? The guy that says he's the one that's credited with being the only proof of curvature in the world, Jaren, that guy.
There's so many people that could help him, but instead a lot of people are attacking him, for trying to sort this thing out. But the whole thing with Will Duffy, I just want to double back on that, is he's a proven scammer, a liar, a securities fraud. He's this entire thing is a setup. Who set it up? Not him. All right. It's
David.
Involves NASA, right? This is the deception.
Nacho.
He thinks he's going to convince the world that the Earth is a globe with this experiment, and for it, he might get pardoned or whatever, or get great wealth or whatever it is. But he's certainly, if he does this and pulls it off, and it goes viral in the mainstream, which it will, he's going to be rewarded for that, in my opinion. So back to spirituality.
So Will Duffy gets rewarded for pulling this thing off, in David's opinion. All right? It's just David's opinion. But he thinks Will Duffy is going to get pardoned. He thinks that Will Duffy is going to be rewarded for it. And he's all for it, everyone. He's absolutely all for it. the number one thing that Dave and Jaron and all the other fake flat earthers have been trying to do is to connect the Bible to an impossible model of the flat earth so that they could attempt to discredit both. All right, and that's coming up this December. So that was Nacho grilling the flat earth Dave, Sir Weissenstein. And maybe people learned some things about Sir Weissenstein they didn't know before. What do you think?
Yeah, I certainly did. And so good job, Nacho. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, Dave, for coming out and being honest and telling everybody all that stuff too.
Yeah, so hopefully I still get the chance to interview Nacho. I've got a lot of questions for him as to how he became David's handler and how that all works, you know, with the time zone difference from the Himalayas. Is that a problem? Any of that kind of stuff. So it's been fun. We've got stuff to cover this Sunday night for sure. We've got the eulogy from Will Dufus for Bob Enyart and probably a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's busy times, everybody. I mean, this is the countdown to what they're calling the final experiment, which is going to be the takedown. It's going to be the end of the fake flat earth. There's only going to be a few channels left. Russian Vids has already listed the channels that will be left after everybody else skedaddles. And yeah, there's another stream to get through. So what do you say, brother? I mean, this was sort of a funny one. I wasn't expecting this one.
Yeah, I had fun. You know, I let go. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Thank you, everyone, again, for tuning in. Leave your comments below, what you thought, you heard, what you see. And maybe we'll find that video. I don't know if RV still has it up, where you've got Dick Hummer and Dave doing the eighth tracing board ritual, standing backwards on the ladder. So there's more to come. We're not done with Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
Nope.
And let's see if Nacho will have you on, or you two do an interview thing, and let's see if he's willing to still take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where's the only place people are going to get this content, brother?
Only on the Yahawashai News Networks.
Turn your back on Mother Nature. If